are. It's Thursday, August 28th, 2025. How you doing? Welcome to, this is right here, the Hat and Beard Show. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. Yesterday, guys, we got all of the dirty deeds done dirt cheap in the Lions 53-man roster. Well, got a little bit bigger. We are now up to 52 players, a couple of claims. The practice squad is polishing out with 15 of 16 guys. A lot of names we know. A couple of names suspiciously missing from the practice squad. Some guys that we kind of thought were going to make it. Dudes like, Nate Lynn, Ian Kennelly. Where you at? Where have thou gone? Oh, brother. Where art thou? You know what I'm saying? I am the man of not being able to get the right names on the practice squad. But that's neither here nor there. At least Keith Cooper Jr. made it. We will discuss Lions roster moves. We will tickle the footballs of the national news algorithmic clankers that we will be circumventing later. But kind of headlining the national news media segment for the NFL's agents take putting Jerry Jones' quote handshake agreement with the Cowboys star Micah Parsons into context. Jones doesn't view Parsons' agent as relevant to the negotiating process. This is something that we're kind of keeping our old eyeballs on, because if there's one guy who is easily, in my opinion, both young and dangerous, just like Aiden Hutchinson to the same degree, if not possibly even better, depending on the context and the circumstances, it would be Micah Parsons. And that ties into our next story. There has been some linkage. Micah Parsons getting shipped off to the frozen tundra of the north. That's right. There's talks of him going to Green Bay. I don't want to deal with that. Although Micah Parsons doesn't scare me when you've got Penny, the future Hall of Famer Sewell, in your back pocket ready to rock and roll. But this coming from AcmePackingCompany.com, Micah Parsons and the NFL Serbia. This is Justin Mosqueda, right? Based on several conversations here is what he believes Micah Parsons, the Green Bay Packers, and the Dallas Cowboys all stand on the probability of old number 11 coming to wreak havoc in the north. Something I'm necessarily hype about. Hopefully this is just a little bit of fluff, just some clickbait, some nonsense there, because Micah Parsons can just keep his happy ass in the dumpster fire that is the Dallas Cowboys. They, not for nothing, but Dallas, well, they kept James Houston on their 53-man roster, so it just goes to show you where the Dallas Cowboys are at. Before now, we will be eventually walking on over to the local news segment here, what we are all here for. The Detroit Lions. We are the largest, fastest-growing Detroit Lions and NFL content creation station this side of the Mississippi, broadcasting exclusively in the 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. hour from Grandma's Studio One. We will be looking at our guy. We've kind of forgot about you, Tim. The last couple days have kind of shied away from our guy. Tim, Twin, senior beat writer for DetroitLions.com, breaking down the Lions' initial practice squad. We will be looking at that, as well as just here pulled up, we do have the guys signed to the practice squad. What's going on, some waiver acquisitions, and, of course, Daniel Thomas, our big free agent signing yesterday morning. Ooh, a special teams ace. I'm not mad about it, but you see here these three positions that we went out and attacked, bringing in a safety. We didn't carry any over, really, except for the top three dogs, and then filling out our defensive line room. Clearly not happy with who we had in camp at the defensive end room specifically. Hopefully Tyrus Wheat can go ahead and bolster that. We will look at both of the guys from a standpoint of sideline report over here, and then black and teal. So we'll kind of get a little bit of a look at both of these guys here later on in the show. And then 4 free agents over here at Sideline Report. Christian Boer, 4 free agents the Lions could target after roster cuts. We will wrap the day up discussing about possibility of some free agents that we could bring in, which players could catch Brad Holmes' eye after roster cuts. We do sit at 52-man on the 53-man roster, which leads us Look at me just stacking the show like I know what I'm doing. Sometimes even a blind squirrel finds a nut in a broken clock is right twice a day. We do have a poll. Who lands at 53rd roster spot? I'm giving you 3 options. Big Z, duh. Everybody's all high and mighty on, ooh, we're going to bring in Zadarius Smith. Oh, Zadarius Smith. Oh, he's so good. Oh, he was good. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. You got to remember, Zadarius Smith is not Zadarius Smith of old. He is old. And although it's fun to watch, more or less the equivalent of the personality of Rasheed Wallace out there playing for the Detroit Lions. It's just not. What's the point? What's the point? You can get just as much production out of an even cheaper and younger option. But then I said, free agent defensive back, we are a little light in the defensive back room, although bringing in Daniel Thomas does bolster the safety room a little bit. As far as the DBs as a whole is concerned, I think we're a little shallow on that back end. So who would you think it is with 29% of the vote? 29% of you say Big Z. And then 43% of you say rotationary piece of practice squad bros, because there are all the guys cleared. Somehow, miraculously, Jackson Meeks cleared. I was very surprised. Now, let's go ahead and caveat this. Guys, we have a lot of hometown bias here. We all had more exposure to Jacob Sailors and Jackson Meeks and Nate Lynn than anybody else, right? More than 31 other teams. We just sink our teeth in on these guys. They're not watching training camp the way that we're watching training camp. They're not reading the news articles. They're not building up these storylines that they like to follow, these heroes, if it were. So I guess we shouldn't be that surprised that these guys cleared waivers, but Jackson Meeks, I think, is going to end up being a special player. He's on the practice squad, so is Jacob Saylor. So personally, I see that 53rd spot going to either a quarterback. I was discussing with Brent DeWitt down in the chat earlier this morning. Possibly bringing in a quarterback for the practice squad that could be elevated to an emergency role, or you're going to see, wherever we're light at, be it the DB room, be it at the running back room, the wide receiver room, you're always going to have another guy in the practice squad, more or less, that you can probably rely on to bump up there with a Meek Sailors or a possible quarterback. Hallett's also there. There are plenty of guys, Keith Cooper Jr., and some offensive line depth that I'm not necessarily wild about, but depth is depth, and we know that Brad Holmes or Dan Campbell is super duper about depth. Before we get into the chat this morning, we just want to go ahead and do a call to action. If you guys haven't already, would you kindly do a barrel roll on over to that like button, hit that bad boy with 2 piece and a biscuit while you're poking all my bells and ringing all my buttons. You can go to the most important button down there, and that is the share button. You guys, you're doing a wonderful job. Absolutely insane job of sharing this video around. All this content around. You guys must have some serious quads. Now, go ahead and take the weekend off. Go ahead and recover, because we got more heavy lifting next week while we shoulder the load with your Atlas-sized shoulders. Keep sharing this around with all your friends. If you want to circumvent the clanker overlords, go ahead and copy this link down on your clipboard. You do not have to share this on social media and tamper with your algorithm over there. And you don't have to admit to your friends that you follow the Hat and Beard Show. It's totally fine with me. I wouldn't want to be affiliated with me either. If you're new here, we are on a roll. We picked up 10 new subscribers over the past 2 days. That's friggin' awesome. I really appreciate all the new names down there. Jeff Ginnard, I see you, Jeff, popping up every day, dude. That's what's up, dude. You're new this week, I believe, brother. So welcome, dude. I appreciate it. So subscribe to the channel if you're new here and ring that notification bell. Turn that notification bell on. Over 75% of you watch this on your mobile device. Okay? So, look, I understand. You're doing stuff. You're pooping, you're eating cereal, you're doing whatever, and you forget, hey, it's 10 o'clock, I'm doing shit. You know what? YouTube is going to take the brain out of it for you, and they're going to go ahead and send you a notification. Push a notification on your mobile device. All you got to do is select that bad boy. It brings you directly to the Hat and Beard Show, where you can hang out every morning, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can be part of the Mad Hatters down in the chat. Good morning, everybody. Brent DeWitt, I'm Chasing Chase, Jeff Ginnard, Broski Bear, Sam Armstrong, Jeanette Hall. Everybody's here. First name, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Broski has to see what you got going on here. Very happy we got back. Yeah, I'm glad we got everybody too. What up, Chase? How you doing, brother? Broski says, I wouldn't be surprised if Brad Holmes targets offensive tackle or cornerback depth for that last roster spot. I think acquiring another DN will happen this season if when player Davenpoop gets I don't know why I said it. Davenpoop. Kind of like that. Davenpoop. Especially because Najee Davenport, the old running back for the Green Bay Packers, memory serves correctly, didn't Najee Davenport poop in a guy's shoe and then get cut from the Packers? So Najee Poop Davenport. kind of funny there. Meeks and Sailors clearing was good to see. Brent, I agree with you. It was good to see, and a little surprising. I was a little surprised. I really, again, though, that's that hometown biasy where we have more exposure to these guys, and I've built up in my head these storylines that I like to follow. You know what I'm saying? Morning, Sam. How you doing? Maybe a true center, Jeff. I do like where you're at, though. Not gonna lie, if you guys follow the community tab or follow the comment section after this, feel free to engage with me. I try to respond throughout the day, and Brent has kind of talked me into Tristan Colon, right? Yeah, I don't know why. Look, I'm not necessarily down on Cologne, but I'm gonna be real. Brent's got an eye for ball, dude. So what I'm saying is he's kind of tipping my scales towards being like Tristan Colon might be a nice little stash piece. Not the youngest guy, but he's not very old either. So, guys. Now that we've done all of that, let's go ahead and dive into the show.
If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
Shout out. Appreciate you guys. Just want to check on the audio. Do we sound good? Sound good for everybody? All right, sounds good. Brent and Sam say it sounds good. So I had inadvertently had monitor and output on my microphone, so it was just looping. It was just looping on itself, right? So I appreciate all you guys yesterday trying to help me out with that. The last couple days has been a little wonky, but I think we've got it cleared up now. Tell you what, dude, when you dive into like the collective knowledge, so we've been I'm gonna be honest, guys, we've been running pretty heavy as far as live viewers are concerned versus where we were draft time. We've been hitting double digits pretty regularly. Yesterday we were heavily holding at 20 viewers for a little bit there. So when you take the collective knowledge of a group of people in the live chat of +8, if you have 8 or more people, there is a shitload of information and knowledge you can draw from just from that group of people. And y'all, we could figure this out. That checks out. Sounds great now, though. Chase, brother, thank you, dude. Thank you, dude. If I hadn't figured it out by today, you was going to get a message because I'd have been floundering, dude. I'd have been floundering. It has been a busy week. Real quick, guys. Yeah. Speaking of busy shitbox week, just go ahead and enjoy tomorrow. We're going to be off tomorrow. I do have confirmation that tomorrow I will be having to go and do CBA negotiations on behalf of the UAW Local 2259. Let's go. Try and get us a new contract, looking at a nice 3-year. And so far, I can't discuss it too much. What's up, Derek? How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. How you doing this morning, dude? It's a nice Thursday, a little gray and drizzly here in mid-Michigan. But I have already, during our first rounds of negotiations, there was a couple things that specifically I was like, no, this needs to go. You need to tweak this. And the 3 things of the 17 proposals that management had originally sent to us, 3 of the things that I specifically highlighted, they all caved on within the just one round of discussing it. So I'm a little happy about that. This is my first negotiations. I don't really know how it's supposed to go, but a little happy that on the 3 things specifically I was trying to get them to change on their proposals, they caved on. Now, if we can just get the dollary dues to come on up, because we are transferring ownership from one company to another, and we are going to be losing. We're going to be going from 9%, a 9% company retirement match, to a 6% 401k match, as well as our healthcare is going to shoot up through the roof. Now, personally, I know that the management team that was retained through the transitionary period, which is all but one individual, all received a 10% pay bump. Yeah, a 10% pay bump. So I'm thinking that the rank and file, at least in the first year of the 3-year contract, is due at least a 10% pay bump, followed by a 7 and a 7 the next 2 years, right? That's a pretty fair and reasonable amount, as well as I need to get the shift premium brought up to an industry standards. They are paying me on my second shift. My second shift premium is a whopping 80 cents. Not a percentage, 80 cents an hour is my shift premium. How fucking insulting is that? So hopefully we can get some things to correct on that. But that's all to say that tomorrow we're going to be off. So make me an offer I can't refuse. Mr. Detroit City, if only the union was like back in the old union days, you know what I'm saying? Slowly take shades off, gives them a death stare. So legit, I know that I look like this, but when I do negotiations, guys, I actually, hat and boobs, she got me a nice little suit jacket, so I actually look pretty clean. Where I like to roll with the open collar, but collared shirt, no tie, jeans and a suit jacket. Your boy looks pretty sharp, you know what I'm saying? I actually got some very 1970s-esque tinted red, real fogged out, squared gold frame glass sunglasses that I like to wear. So it is quite a sight to behold. How many kickbacks involved? How much grease is involved? Yeah, so broski, I can't talk too much about it. But considering, how's this? Let's just go to say that a lot of the situation right now is we are going from the public sector to the private sector. Okay, so there is a lot of shenanigans and tomfoolery that's involved. You know what I'm saying? However, now that we are no longer a public facility and owned by a private ownership group, because the state of Michigan is no longer a right-to-work state, let's go try and re-strengthen the unions. We now have gained, since Michigan is no longer a right-to-work state, and because we're no longer a public facility, that means you don't have any option for right-to-work because public facilities still was able to exercise the right-to-work, which right to work really just means right to work around the union. The public facilities are still able to exercise that because a public facility is a facility or a service given to the taxpayer by the taxpayer, and it's not necessarily fair or legal for that service that is paid for by the taxpayer to hold the taxpayer hostage and demand more money. You still have to. So they don't have an option to strike, but now that we're going from public facility to private sector, we've actually are now gaining the leverage to strike for the first time in 3 decades. So that could be an interesting option, but I doubt it'll even go that route. Morning, Art. How you doing, bro? Kicks the door down, dressed up like Conor McGregor. Dude, I should just walk in there and be like, what the fuck is going on here? Who the fuck is even this guy? What the fuck is he even talking about? What the fuck is even that? Hell yeah. How you doing, Art? My mother-in-law got a $5 raise for the night shift. Yeah, Sam, so that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, you guys, I can't talk too much about it, but like literally the place that I work, we don't even have a digital work order system. Our work order systems is literally a Word document that they print off, manually write in what's wrong, okay? And then we just hand it back to my boss when it's done, and it just sits on a pile on our desk for 6 months until one of us just throws them away. We don't even have a digital inventory system. We don't even order parts online. That's how far behind the times the places that I work. How fucking wild is that, dude? So yeah, an 80-cent shift premium. All right, guys. There, now that I kind of vented for a little bit, thanks for the therapy, guys. Thank you. Don't know how it's 2025. Dude, Brent, bro. So we've had like a rotating door of guys in the maintenance department the last little bit, and every single one of them is just like, what the fuck? Dude, we don't have an automated preventative maintenance system. We don't even have a preventative maintenance schedule. Yeah. I do 100% of the welding at work. The shop that I have, my welding shop, is just our maintenance shop where I literally have to weld on top of a table saw, a miter box on sawhorses that I constantly have to slam my back into because of the limitations of it. All of our gas cans, all of our gas cylinders, gas cans, and everything are 3 feet away from me. I'm constantly showering them in sparks. All the wood shavings, because other than me and G, nobody cleans up after themselves, are just like I'll catch them on fire 4 or 5 times out of the night, and just kind of have to put it out real quick. I don't have a ventilation hood. I don't even have a mobile smoke eater, dude. I have a fucking 24-inch pedestal fan that I have put MERV 11 filters on, attached with zip ties to try and eat the smoke. Yeah, how fucked up is that, dude? Nope, not Welders Union, UAW. Nope, no, I'm not an iron worker. I'm UAW. Do you guys have a running water at least? Damn. Yeah, we sometimes have running water. Okay, we sometimes have running water. But check this out. You want to know something wild? For the last 30 years, we've been on the taxpayer dole. Okay, and in the summer, we don't shut the steam off to the building because we heat our building with steam. Okay, in the summertime, we don't shut the steam. Everyone else in the city of Lansing shuts their steam off, but we don't shut our steam off because if we did that, all of the seals and the steam lines would shrink and then cause leaks, and we'd have to fix them all. So we just keep the steam on and running in the building 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year because they don't want to fix it. That's how shady business is. LOL. Remember, no digital footprint. Yeah, no shit. Don't discuss anything on the phone. Dude, yo, broski, you're correct, dude. That's why they hate that, like, me and the new people, the younger people, we email, we send emails, we CC everybody. Because, like, we've all been through the CYA shit, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just got to cover your ass, bro. It's just greasy, fellas. It's just greasy. Bro, y'all, check this out, dude. Our retirement, okay? Our retirement, dude, like, they take our retirement, all right? So we're actually, we don't pay into Social Security right now. We opted out of Social Security like 20 years ago. We pay into like a 517 catch-up plan or something like that. Anyway, our employer takes all of our, collectively every 2 weeks, all of the hourly employees, they take all of our retirement that they match and that is taken out of our paycheck, and it just sits in an account for 6 weeks, 8 weeks. The longest it went on before somebody noticed was 14 weeks. There's only 52 weeks in the year. And then whenever somebody decides for the old company that used to run us, whenever they decide or get around to it, they then take all of our retirement money and then invest it into the stock market. So we miss out on sometimes months of compound interest growth. Now, I don't think that money is being taken and put in a fucking coffee can and stuffed under a bed somewhere. So that has to be going into an account somewhere that is earning interest in some capacity that I'm not getting, but somebody else is skimming off the top. I don't know how to go about investigating this or looking into it, but, like, dude, somebody is fucking stealing my earnings from my money, and I'm losing compound interest from the fucking weeks of the market. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so fucked up, dude. It's so fucked up. It's greasy as fuck. Speaking of greasy, how about Dallas? Plot twist. New regime brings Tesla bots to replace everyone. So Mr. Detroit City, that's the one thing. When people are like, oh my God, the clankers, they're all worried about robots and automation. My expertise is in mechatronics. So I'm not at all worried about robots. I've been fucking, I'm gonna be real with you guys. Robots are fucking stupid, dude. Robots are dumb. Robots can only do what they're told to do. Robots, and they have no critical thinking. They can't fucking assess. They get hung up on an issue. If their PLC logic doesn't run, then they get fucked, dude. Robots are stupid. Yeah, dude, that's what I'm hoping too. Art Vanderlei says, hoping that Dallas's price tag is way too high for Green Bay. Yeah, so let's go ahead and just take a little peruse here. Jones adamant that Parsons regained on a handshake agreement they made sometime in March about a contract extension. He repeated instances that he thought he had a deal, contradicts his statement, meaning back in April. In Jones' latest media blitz at the end of the week, he said the former Cowboys Hall of Fame wide receiver Michael Irvin's YouTube channel that the deal he made with Parsons is the richest in NFL history for a defensive player and has the most guarantees. He reiterated this claim as a subsequent interview with the ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. Do you think that's true? Jones didn't mention when in March that his talks with Parsons took place. An assumption is being made that Parsons and Jones met in mid-March after the Cleveland Browns made a perennial first-team All-Pro edge rusher Myles Garrett, the first $40 million non-quarterback, 2023 Defensive Player of the Year, signed a 4-year, $160 million contract extension with non-quarterback records of $123 million in overall guarantees and $88 million in fully guarantees at signing. So, knowing what Micah Parsons or Myles Garrett's contract is, knowing what Micah Parsons is probably going to be asking, I mean, hell, T.J. Watt, he's on the wrong side of 30. And he got a 3-year, $123 million deal, averaging $41 million per year. He signed in July. Non-quarterback. The deal was a non-quarterback record of 108 fully million guaranteed to signing, easily eclipsing Garrett's 88 million. So Micah Parsons is going to need what? $43 million a year? $43 million a year probably, with what, 120 of it guaranteed? Which, what the fuck are we going to do with Hutch, dude? The fuck are we going to do with Hutch when that comes time? What they're doing is using your retirement funds to pay your health insurance premiums. It's all about cash flow. That's why there's a delay, is when your retirement funds get invested. No shit. Huh. Do you think that's legal? Is that legal? Because I feel like I'm just missing out on money, dude. Like, you know, wouldn't my health insurance premiums go down if they'd stopped hiring such fucking fat people? Oh, yeah, look at them pit stains, boys. Woo! We got some sweaty pits. Oh, yeah. We are the sweaty pit master. Let's go. Jerry Jones just beat stage 4 cancer. I don't think anybody stands a chance taking him into any. Oh, did he for real, Mr. Detroit City? Damn. Damn, that's wild. So, if Micah Parsons is looking at roughly $43 million guaranteed over 4 years, 5 years, that's a shitload of money. What would the Packers have to give up to get him, right? The richest deal, a defensive player and the highest paid defensive player isn't necessarily one in the same. Garrett's $200 million over 6 years has been the richest deal since March. The calculation includes Garrett's remaining 2 contract years for 24 and 25, worth $44 million, that add into the $160 million of new money. Parsons is scheduled to play on his 5th-year option. His salary is the subject of grievance. The Cowboys contend with the option should $21 million, which is the 2024 franchise tag number reserved for defensive end. Parsons feels $24 million that the 24 franchise tag linebackers is appropriate. That's still a lot less than he could be making. Micah Parsons could be making $40 million a year, right? I mean, am I nuts? That's fucking... Ah, yes, broski, that makes sense. Legality and ethicality, being legal and being ethical. Yes, those are two very different things. That's why I say business is dirty. And when people start getting into the big dollar movements, nobody's hands are clean. That makes a lot of sense, dude. It's not necessarily, it might not be, or it's probably legal, but not ethical. That's a good point. God damn, what do you guys think? CeeDee Lamb's getting $40 million a year. Dak's getting... highest paid player by 9.9% last September. Jones could propose percentage. Damn, dude. God damn. Dude, are the Cowboys really going to commit like almost 2/3 of their salary cap? Now, I know the cap is only as real as you make it, but are the Cowboys really going to commit 2/3 of their salary cap to 3 guys? I mean, is Dak still worth it? CeeDee Lamb is good, but is CeeDee Lamb really worth all that money? In my opinion, the only person in this three-headed just fucking money pit of players is Micah Parsons. He's the only one worth it. He's the only one who's time and time again proven it. CeeDee Lamb, I don't know. Yeah, CeeDee Lamb's very, very talented, but is he worth that $40 million a year? I mean, he's going to get it one way or another. Averaging $34 million a year. I'm sorry, put him the second payest hired receiver behind Justin Jefferson, topped the wide receiver pay scale of $140 million, averaging $35 million a year. He received from Minnesota in 24. Jones' willingness to give Parsons the richest contract for a defensive player could have been a decent margin without him making the highest paid defensive player. For example, $218 million over 6 years would be a 5-year, $197 million extension, using the lower $21 million amount as the option. At $39.5 million per year, that would have been right behind Garrett's $40 million benchmark that existed in March. Huh. You know what? This is too long-winded and too many numbers. I don't care anymore. Let's talk about the what we really want to talk about is Micah Parsons gonna end up in Green Bay. I don't care about all them dollary dues anymore. Micah Parsons is boring. Management has plenty of options when it comes to keeping labor in line. If you're reading this and have ever had a job, I'm sure you've seen the power exercised in at least one form of fashion at least once in your life. In the NFL, though, front offices have one lever they can pull that isn't common in most industries. Sending your ass to someplace you don't prefer to be. Does Micah Parsons not want to be in Green Bay? Post Brett Favre, because of the winning the franchise has done, the Green Bay Packers haven't had much of an issue collecting talent. Before Favre, though, Green Bay was known as Siberia, a less than cute way to describe our beloved frozen tundra. It's not beloved, it's gross up there. I hate reading Packers content. Don't believe me. Gil Brandt was the architect of 2 Super Bowl teams with the Dallas Cowboys. Once tweeted, back in the day, we used to tell players we'd send them to Siberia, a.k.a. Green Bay, when they'd ask for a trade. Even former Packers president and CEO Mark Murphy, who played for Washington from 77 to 84, admitted, when I played, Green Bay was the Siberia of the NFL while holding the title as the Packers' pseudo-owner. While QB1 Aaron Rodgers famously stated, I think we can all understand Green Bay isn't a huge vacation destination. People come here to play with me. A few years later, he gushed nonstop about the activities that there were to do in New York City as a member of the Jets. Please spare me the comments telling me the benefit of living in Green Bay. I understand what living outside of a major metros in the United States is like. For the most part of 26 years, I lived in a county of about 20,000 people in an unincorporated community on a mountain. You'd be preaching to the choir. Fact of the matter, though, is that the U.S. about 340 million people, and about half of them live in 15 combined statistical areas, essentially metro areas. According to census data, a little over 75% of Americans live in metros larger than Green Bay. So while Brown County may seem plenty populated to someone who grew up in a small-town America like him, others do have differing opinions. Why bring this up? Because he believes it is critical in understanding what is going on with Micah Parsons rumors. Based on multiple conversations he's had over the past couple of days, here's my belief on what is happening and why we're getting all this Parsons trade buzz. First of all, Parsons and the Cowboys clearly don't see eye to eye on contract compensation after owner Jerry Jones' direct-to-player conversations that excluded Parsons' agents, David failed to produce a deal. Jones, a multi-billionaire, was humbled enough to center himself in a recent Netflix series. The Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl runs in the 1990s did what most powerful people do when they don't initially get what they want. He flexed his influence. So here's where this I'll send his ass to Superior if he doesn't sign the deal. Part of the equation comes in. It probably worked in the 90s. Parsons isn't exactly a homebody. If he's not in Dubai on vacation, he's, ew, gross, Dubai. Ugh. Motherfucker, you're gross. That's nasty. He's recording a podcast or hanging out with a multi-billion-dollar CEO party. He could do things as a member of the Packers, no doubt, but their actions don't scream, I would like to live a quiet life as a family man, which generally attracts people to Green Bay. The cold, small town is for an acquired taste on a relative scale of millionaire athletes in their 20s. Jones identified Green Bay, the stardom of what comes, and being face of the Cowboys and the NFL's trade culture as leverage he could take advantage of. Unfortunately for him, was no pushover. As a super agent for Athletes First, one of the largest agencies representing NFL players, Mar-a-Lago, his roster included Sean Cosby Watson, which is gross, who received guaranteed $230 million, Jordan Love, Derek Stingley Jr., J.C. Horn, Jalen Ramsey, Xavier McKinney, blah, 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 blah. If you want to stick your head in the sand and believe tampering doesn't happen in the NFL, I envy you. People believe the rules, which don't even benefit them. Firsthand, I've overheard discussions that could violate the league rules over drinks at the Combine. Just this week, Chicago Bears running back Mike Davis admitted the Bears tampered with him directly while on podcast. Also, gestures vaguely at everything happening in college football and the transfer portal. Yeah, it's a dirty business. It's a dirty business. A source familiar with the situation told him Thursday night that the deal Parsons can't believe can secure from the Packers is around the rumored $45 million per year floating around the internet. See, I told you $45 million. Depending on how much money is guaranteed, for now, it is Malaluga and Green Bay's interest to deny any conversations have even happened. Beyond a number to use for Parsons in negotiations with the Cowboys. No paper trails. Hell yeah. Right now, it benefits both Parsons and Jones, who both ultimately want to get a deal done to use the Packers to call each other's bluffs. Is he willing to sit out games this season and eat north of $1 million per game loss that comes with it? Can he rehab his back issues on company time and still get paid in full? We're on pace to find out. After multiple conversations with people this week, I believe that this situations, do I think Parsons and Jones ultimately get a contract extension in Dallas? I think it's still highly likely, but I've been told that the Cowboys and Packers have spent more time contemplating inside their organizations what a trade could look like in recent days. What do you guys think about that? Does Micah Parsons end up getting unloaded to the Green Bay Packers, and what do they give up to get him? Obviously, at least one. Do they get 2 first-round picks for him? How are we doing, chat? You're surprised? You'd be shocked. Broski be shocked if they traded him to the Fudgies. Those organizations don't like each other. They don't. Packers already offered 2 first-round picks, a 2nd-round pick, and a 3rd and a 5th. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's not if they really offered that much draft capital, there's no way they're fucking unloading him to the Green Bay Packers. When you demand such a large contract, you're basically unaffordable. The teams have to sacrifice so much more than one player. I would be my own agent. Pay me $1 million to play a game I love. That's just it, dude. Like, why are these guys being so damn greedy, man? You know what I mean? It's pretty simple, Sam. You're correct, dude. Did you hear Putin has this dude who carries portable poop bag when he travels so no adversaries can get a hold? Bro, Mr. Detroit City, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the thing simply because, South Park did a whole episode about Tom Brady's poop a couple years back, dude. I wouldn't be surprised people to do that. Men are men when sheeps are scared. Hell yeah, Brent, you're right. Dude's game is all right. Is airtight. Hell yeah, dude. One of the worst days in Lion history was when Reggie White signed with the Packers, hoping Parsons realizes Green Bay sucks. The Reverend did own us, Sam. That's just it, dude. Yeah, when Reggie White signed with the Packers, that was not good news for everybody else in the North. All right, guys. We're just kind of plugging along here, way out in the weeds today. I'm going to go over to DetroitLions.com. It's been a goofy little week, dude. So let's take a look at the 15 guys on the practice squad. Miles Adams made it, right? I'm not even going to do it. Let's just go ahead and do it right here. Signed to the practice squad. Miles Adams. Ronnie Bell. Not surprised with Ronnie Bell. Miles Adams a little surprised with Tristan Colon. We're all happy about that. Keith Cooper Jr. making it to the practice squad. Let's go. Eric Hallett back on the practice squad. Zach Horton. Hey, Zach Horton. I could have tossed Zach Horton in on that poll question. Zach Horton could be one of those guys that gets flexed up to that 53rd spot as a tweener tight end fullback type role. Tom Kennedy's back. Jackson Meeks bringing him back home. Mason Miller, Michael Neese, Anthony Pittman staying where he belongs right here in the Motor City. Jacob Sailors surprisingly clearing waiver wires and back on the Lions practice squad. No, I am so happy about that. Lauren, big hit in Strickland. Dan Skipper, your friendly neighborhood Dan Skipper, you guys, we were all up in arms about the Lions cutting Dan Skipper, and even I was like, well, maybe there's an opportunity for him to go get a bag elsewhere, but the reality of the situation is Dan Skipper is not a very highly coveted asset in the NFL, and he is back with the Detroit Lions on our practice squad, back home where your friendly neighborhood Dan Skipper belongs, and Isaac Akuwu. A couple of names missing here that kind of shocked me is, where is Nate Lynn? Where is Ian Kennelly? We went Lauren Strickland over Ian Kennelly? Come on now. Brent, I agree with you, dude. We need a practice squad QB for sure. Who do we go after? There's some names floating around there. You guys know me. You guys know who I want top of my list is, hey! Tommy DeVito, baby! Oh. Never mind. He signed with the Pats. Lame. So Tommy DeVito signed with the Pats, so that's a shit in my hat and on my beard. But you guys, the big names here, obviously we talked yesterday about the Lions signing the Jacksonville Jaguars cut safety, Daniel Thomas. So he's right on the active roster, right? So that took us from 49 back to 50 after we traded Fireball Tim Patrick. Boy, we've been really wheeling and dealing with Duval. Getting a 6th-round pick in exchange for Fireball Tim Patrick. We then signed Daniel Thomas after he was cut. And then, of course, managed to claim off of waivers Tyler Lacey from Jacksonville off of waivers. Now, who is Tyler Lacey? Former Jaguars draft pick found immediate redemption after roster cut. This coming to us from blackandteal.com. On Tuesday, the NFL required every team to cut the roster down to 53 players. That's right. Franchise to move, which forcing each franchise to move from nearly 40 players, which means teams had to make a ton of decisions as they ended their journeys with players they invested a lot in. For one of those players, Tyler Lacey, the Jags selected him in the 4th round of the 2023 draft. After 2 seasons with the team, his time in Jacksonville officially ended after his 3rd training camp. Lacey was one of the players. Jacksonville cut ties on Tuesday, but it didn't take him long to find a new team. Lions claim former Jaguars defensive tackle. In his 2 seasons in Jacksonville, Lacey played in 28 games, but he didn't start any. As a rookie, he only recorded 12 tackles in 15 games, but improved his number to 25 tackles in 13 games last season. Unable to stand out in training camp this year as a young Jaguars roster that is improving, Jacksonville decided to let him move on to a new opportunity, which I'm starting to feel like he maybe is a Broderick Martin. Oh, gross. Lacy is lucky that his new opportunity is with one of the best teams in the NFL. The Lions are 12-5 2 seasons ago and ended blah, 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 blah. We know that. Despite losing both corners this offseason, some key players on the field, Detroit believes it still has the pieces to make a run. Tyler Lacy will now be part of that push. What do you guys know about Tyler Lacy? Not really a lot of flashy stats. 13 tackles, followed up by 12 tackles in his rookie year in 15 games, and then 25 tackles in 13 games. So very Broderick Martin-like. Hey, Hat. Hey, Kerry. How you doing, brother? Welcome, morning. How you doing, man? Happy Thursday. Hooker to Carolina. Yeah, Sam, I seen Hendon Hooker went to Carolina, and then maybe that's what he needs is a fresh little start down in Carolina. But what do you guys think about Tyler Lacy, huh? How do you feel about this? Nice little depth piece, nice little defensive tackle addition, kind of fills out a room. Yep, nice depth. Another depth piece, says Brent. Yep, that's what I like about that. And then our other guy here, Tyrus Wheat. Got him from old dirty Dallas. Tyrus Wheat offers Lions an intriguing developmental prospect at defensive end. Lions came into the week with a chance to make a few additions along their defensive line, given their roster situation, and didn't hesitate to strike with one intriguing move. Let me hit this oil can real quick here, fellers. After cuts, a franchise move to sign defensive tackle Tyler Lacy from the Jags, defensive end Tyrus Wheat, formerly of the Dallas Cowgirls. Wheat had made the Cowboys in 2023 as an undrafted free agent and looked on track to crack the roster again. Instead, he heads to the Motor City. Let's go. With him, Wheat will bring some intriguing potential given his abilities as a pass rusher. This preseason, Wheat has been impressive getting after the quarterback. He racked up 7 pressures during that span, which was tied for 4th amongst all defenders, according to PFF. That's not bad. In addition to that, Wheat just looks the part. During this preseason, Marcus Mosher of Fansided noted that Wheat has a knack for making things happen on the field whenever he's playing. There you go, right there. You see Marcus Mosher. Tyrus Wheat just does stuff. Bad analysis, but it's true. In Detroit, he will join the defensive line to play alongside Hutch and Davenpoop. It's likely that Wheat will merely be a complimentary piece to the Lions, but he could certainly push for some snaps if he shows up as much as he had during camp and the preseason. At the very least, the Lions liked him enough to give him a shot on the roster out of the league cut period. It will be fascinating to see if he can parlay that opportunity into something tangible in the long term with Detroit. Wheat fits Lions' mindset with special teams focus and toughness. Not only could Wheat eventually play some kind of role for Detroit's defense, he figures to be an immediate special teams contributor. After making the Cowboys in 23, he saw plenty of snaps on that side of the ball and was mostly a regular contributor on special teams in Dallas. Despite that, Wheat does offer a relentless motor. The Lions are a franchise that has been built recently on players who have never relented, and it's clear they're getting another fit in Wheat. That's what I like to hear. As Dan Rogers showed in a clip, Wheat's hustle to the whistle is when he chased running back down the field for a tackle. Let's take a little look here at that. Oh, here we go. Look at him go. Okay. All right, he's got a little athleticism in it. The hustle of Wheat on that particular lost play is noticeable, and just the kind of thing that could endear him to special teams coordinator Dave Phipp and Dan Campbell. Even if he doesn't see the field much on defense, Wheat is likely to play a big role on special teams group that recently took a hit with the loss of linebacker Zeke Turner. Speed and physicality play a big role, which is what Wheat brings to the table. It's easy to see why the Lions are intrigued by Wheat, and his addition proves the Lions want to bring a young player with some NFL experience along at the position. Now Wheat only has to seize the major opportunity he's been given. I like that. I like what I'm reading. Sounds like he's a good fit here in the Motor City. What do you guys think about that? How do you guys feel about the 2 additions? What are we doing, chat? What's going on down here, chat? Another depth piece. Tyrus Wheat is not gluten-free. God damn, broski. I walked right into that one. Holy shit, man. God, it was right there. The joke was right. The joke was right there. It's raining outside and caught me off guard a little bit. Yep, it's raining. Need a practice squad QB for sure. Good place for AOC's Tatas. Let's go. Well, for that, we're going to need to bring in a gingery quarterback because, AOC with her butt teeth, she's a pumpkin pounder. Let's go. Wheat is a better Martin. Okay, Sam. So that's what I like to hear. I like to hear a little bit of takes on the guy. You know what I mean? Broderick Martin. God, doesn't I feel it? I don't even want to say Broderick Martin's name anymore because it just feels so good to have him not here, fucking around, tooting around, screwing things up. You know what I'm saying? Ham on whole wheat. Let's go. No, Mom, I don't want cream of Tyrus wheat. No, I don't want to eat cream of Tyrus wheat. Dude, if Tyrus wheat were to, legit become a fucking thing in Detroit, our defensive ends with Hutch could be cream and wheat. Oh, I'm a fucking dork, dude. I'm a fucking dork. Oh, Sam, so you're saying Broderick was the worst third pick, huh? Yeah, I would not disagree with that, dude. Broderick Martin was a big swing and a miss. Even, Levi, for being as injury-riddled as he was, when he was on the field, Levi Onwuzurike was fucking an effective player. You know what I mean? All Broderick Martin was good for doing was drinking water, wasting Gatorade, and sucking fucking fresh air out of Ford Field, dude. He was everything wrong and bad that was in Sean Rogers. You know what I'm saying? He was just a big blubberbutt. Just a big old blubberbutt. All right, guys, we got about 15 minutes left today. We're going to wrap up the show here on this article here. Hendon was a worse pick. Was he, though? You might not be wrong, Mr. Detroit City, but Hendon Hooker offered at the time. When we drafted Hendon Hooker, there was a lot of hype and the very high ceiling on what he could have been, right? Hendon Hooker and the third rounders, let's be real. Brad Holmes likes to deal third-round picks, and he likes to take swings on third-round picks. And sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. At least he's not taking these wild swings on first-round picks. You know what I'm saying? Drafted him. Oh, yep, that's true. Yep, Brad drafted himself and Martin, small school DT. You are 100% right, Brent. You're 100% right. He let his biases get a hold of him, dude. He's seen himself in Broderick and decided to draft him. That's pretty even. Yeah, I would say Sam, you and Mr. Detroit City. I would say Hendon Hooker and Broderick Martin. Both of them were kind of swings, but they were swings in wildly different directions. Hendon Hooker was a swing on a guy that was coming out hurt, but had a lot of upside his last year in college. Broderick Martin was a fucking guy out of a tiny school that had a possibility for a lot of upside, but not a lot of opportunities to show it in college. So both of them, I feel like, were big swings in opposing directions. Watch Hooker become outstanding with the Panthers. Carrie, I hope you're wrong, dude. I really do. Hendon Hooker's he's a bum. The Panthers are bums. All right, let's hit the oil can here before we get into the last article. Sorry, it's been kind of a weird show all week here, fellas. We've been kind of up and down and tech issues, and I'm kind of after last week, I'm kind of cooked, man. It's been a lot. Looking forward to the holiday weekend. Let's just say it's been a lot. I just want to sit on my ass and do nothing for a couple of days. Is that so wrong? It's got a lot of yard work to do. For free agents, the Lions could target after roster cuts. So what does Christian Boer have for us today? Edge, Zadarius Smith. I've never heard this. I have never. Where did you come up with such a revolutionary and groundbreaking take? Has Zadarius Smith ever been linked to the Detroit Lions? Is there any reason why we would think that Zadarius Smith would come to the Detroit Lions? The most obvious potential addition is Smith, who was released by the Lions to free up cap space ahead of free agency. He remains unsigned during training camp and likely has plenty of options as he looks to find a new home in 2025. We only carried 3 true pass rusher defensive ends, final cuts, and added another with Tyrus Wheat through waivers. Wheat is likely a depth addition, and Smith could provide an instant impact, even in a rotational role. The fit between the two parties made a lot of sense when Detroit acquired him at the trade deadline last year when Hutch, being healthy, lessens the need. Smith could still play a rotationary role and be a strong contributor for the defense. Kendrick Bourne, wide receiver. I'm not even going to entertain that because that's stupid. We got plenty of good young wide receivers on the practice squad. I'm not even going to entertain that. Offensive tackle offensive tackle Connor McDermott. The Texans cut veteran McDermott less than a week after the team traveled to Detroit for a joint practice and a preseason game. Lions have Jamarco Jones slated as their tentative option as a swing tackle, but adding veteran depth on the trenches could help an offensive line with young talent. Both of Detroit's starters at tackle are solid. Both have depth, but having depth will be key. Detroit has relied on Dan, friendly neighborhood skipper, throughout the last season in jumbo packages, but that looks to be changing. The Lions are looking for a competition at the tackle position. Perhaps McDermott could be a good option. Here you go, Mr. Detroit City, Asante Samuel Jr. This is the name that I thought of immediately when I started thinking. Oh, okay, we're a little light at defensive back. We're going to have to go and get somebody. And honestly, I'd rather not do what we always do, which has, worked to a limited degree. Kendall Vildor, right? Jerry Jacobs, right? You guys remember Jerry Jacobs, right? It's worked out to a certain degree of success. But at this point in our Super Bowl window, do we want to be gambling on just another guy? Or do we want to go and grab ourselves a proven asset who might not be a starter immediately, but God forbid something were to happen and we are down? There is no reason why we ever need to be in an NFC Championship game starting Kendall Vildor as a cornerback. Okay, that's my point. So when I noticed that we were awfully light at defensive back, now I know that Rock Ya-Sin and Avonte Maddox offer a lot of hybrid abilities, and we did bring a couple guys back like Eric Hallett on the practice squad. I couldn't stop thinking about you, Mr. Detroit City, and bringing in Asante Samuel Jr. If the motherfucker is still available, and he's a lot better than 90% of the other scrubs out there, injuries limited Samuel last season as he appeared in just 4 games, while the Lions do have some established options at the cornerback position, but bringing in more depth wouldn't hurt the team. There's that trigger word that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell like to hear. Is depth. We need depth, especially considering, let us not forget that TA has had a little bit of a hamstring injury all through training camp, and we know historically that hamstring injuries can be a nagging sensation that hampers your growth and development productivity all throughout the regular season, especially now in your sophomore year when you need to be making a massive step forward, Terry and Arnold, not hitting the quote-unquote sophomore slump. So if something were to possibly hinder Asante Sam or Terry and Arnold, do we want to be forced in a position where Amik Robertson or Rocky Center having to kind of piecemeal their way through cornerbacks 2, 3, your nickel spot, or would we just feel a lot more comfortable bringing in a proven asset like an Asante Samuel Jr., who's just going to be, hey, guy, this is what it is. This is your role. You're going to be called upon when you're called upon, and you're going to be a depth piece, and you're going to need to go out there and produce in a limited capacity. Is that an option that you guys see viable, and how do you feel about that? Detroit's cornerback room has some solid young talent. However, the team has just 3 true safeties, Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, and newcomer Daniel Thomas. If Samuel's medical needs checks out, he could wind up being a steal at the position in some capacity. I fully agree with Christian Boer on that one. I don't like the Kendrick Bourne, but I do like the Asante Samuel. Not so wild about Zadarius Smith. What do you guys think? How do you feel? If it were to come down to, all right, guys, we got 7 minutes. We're going to run a fucking quick poll. 18 votes. Oh, wow, you guys are saying rotationary piece of practice squads. I like where you guys are at. Big Z, though, coming in with 39% of the vote in a nice second place. All right. Okay, let's launch another poll. Come on, sausage fingers. How do you spell his name? I am not good at spelling. There you go. All right. So we're going to run a quick 5-minute poll. If, and that is a big if Detroit brings in a free agent, who would you rather? Would you rather Big Z or would you rather Asante Samuel Jr.? This is no other or somebody else. It is just simply, Are we dead? Apparently we're dead in the water. Okay, are we back? Are we back? Okay, we're back. All right, we're back. Okay, sorry about that. Dude, yeah, I could see the poll question. AOC eat beans and rice every day. Is that why there's so much junk in the truck? It's the wine growing those tatas. Sam, you are right, dude. That's why they're swelling so nicely and filling out so well. And big booty, big juicy booty Latina AOC. You're my favorite big booty Latina AOC. You can still hear me? Okay, all right. Well, I don't know, guys. We've just been having some issues. Especially, I got too many windows open or something, bro. I don't know. But Mr. Detroit City, dude, I was just thinking that when he was like sheep beans and rice, dude, you know the AOC's got them varnish ripping farts, dude. She can just clean the stain off a wood rocker just like that, dude. Like if she wasn't a congresswoman, she'd still be tending bar or she'd be selling her ass as varnish remover, dude. Like ASG, I voted for Z because I have no faith in Davenport staying healthy. Brent, logic, I like it. I like where your head's at with that, Brent. You guys, all right, so 5 votes. 5 votes. Big Z's walking away with the 5 votes. Oh, 50-50. 6 votes. Let's go. Goya like a mug. Ah! You guys are funny. All right, we're all back. We're good. Got good sound, good everything. Well, it looks like it's about 50-50 today, guys. That's a pretty good split right there. You know, it's a binary selection, so there's not a lot of flexibility there. But we're going to kind of start to wind this down here, fellas. It's been a up and down week. Tech issues last week, tech issues this week. Looks like we got it kind of squirreled away, though. Got off on a tangent early. Got off on a tangent about personal stuff early. It is what it is. Appreciate you guys hanging out, though, and dealing with it all. It's been a fun week. We had roster cuts, and there's a lot of prep to be done. Enjoy the holiday weekend, guys. As you know, as I said earlier, we will be off tomorrow as I have contract negotiations for the UAW, and I will not be able to be here to go live. So enjoy tomorrow. Take tomorrow off from watching the Hat and Beard Show and get ready for the holiday weekend. Enjoy the holiday weekend. Be smart. Be safe. All right? Don't do anything wild. Most of you probably are like myself and have Monday off, but I was thinking of doing just a casual Monday live stream anyway, just to hang out a little bit, maybe watch a couple of videos. There's one by Football Analysis I want to watch with the guys that we were kind of go down. So probably just more of a chill kind of hangout, you know, just kick the shit and hang out on a holiday week Monday. So we'll probably just plan on doing that. Look for the notifications, so make sure you got notifications turned on. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the like button on your way out the door, and don't forget to share this content around with all your friends, although this video is probably not the one that you want to try and entice people with because it was a little rambly, gambly there at the beginning, but it is what it is. Enjoy the weekend. Stay out of trouble. Don't call for bail because, well, I'm broke. Ha! All right, guys. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. That's what we love about you. Have a safe holiday weekend. We'll catch you guys Monday morning, probably around the 10 a.m. block, more than likely, just because it's a good schedule to keep. Thoughts and prayers, by the way, to the victims of the Minnesota Catholic Church shooting yesterday. It's fucked up what's going on, and all the metrics are starting to point towards a very, very specific group of people. So the stats don't lie. Thoughts and prayers to the families and victims of that situation. It's fucked up, but we need to move forward as a country and keep pressing on. Kind of shit's got to stop happening, you know. We'll catch you guys Monday. I've been Hat and Beard. You've been attentive audience. Until then, bonga bonga. Brig off.